everybody, this is Lah Lotus back on deck with another quick video. Hopefully it'll be quick. But today's video is going to be off topic from my usual. Normally I talk about bike related stuff, and this is also going to be bike related. But I'm going to give you a quick brief history about myself, who I am, where I came from, and how I got to the point where I am now. And with no further ado, let me get to it. My name is Lavelle Jones. I was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York, and you know, I had some good and bad times in my life. I had some struggles and stuff like that, so you know, you'll hear about that right now. But just to fast forward to about 12, 13 years old, I was fascinated by motorcycles, wheelies, bikes, and stunts and all that kind of stuff. And so I used to borrow bikes and ride friends' bikes and stuff like that, so I can practice my stuff. But being young and not having a bike that I can use all the time, I never got to get where I wanted to be with my skills. And so later on in life, you know how life goes, you might be having plans of doing one thing, but then life tells you otherwise. And so that's kind of like what happened with me. You know, went to school, finished school, all that kind of stuff. But by the time I was 19 years old, I had a big, amazing, crazy thing that happened to me. And that is that I was locked up for a murder that I didn't commit. And I actually, you know, I was lied on by a bunch of people for different reasons, but that's another long story. And the police, they set me up, and you know, they didn't care about me being innocent or not, and they just felt like they was going to lock me up and throw away the key. And so they did that. I actually went to trial. They didn't have a murder weapon, no gun, no fingerprints or anything for this crime, but they still locked me up for it, and they didn't let me out. And they offered me a 15-year sentence if I plead guilty to the murder. And they told me that it was a good deal for me to take the 15 years. And that would have been a good deal if I was actually guilty of murder. However, I didn't know the guy who got killed, never met him, never had anything to do with him. So there was no way in hell I was going to cop out. And if you don't know what cop out is, that means plead guilty to something. And so I wasn't going to plead guilty to something that I had nothing to do with and no knowledge of. But anyway, long story short, I went to trial for this murder. And since I didn't take the plea bargain, that's what normally happens. You don't plead guilty, you plead not guilty, you go to trial, and you win or lose. And so now in my case, I was actually found guilty of murdering this guy with no gun, no witnesses, no anything. Just all lies that came up earlier in the case, that people tried to come forward and say that they lied on me, but the judge, the district attorney, the police, they never cared. They never tried to clear it up. They just was happy to have one person in jail for their crime, and that was me. And so the 12 jurors that I had, they were all white, and that was supposed to be a jury of my peers, because if you know anything about going to trial, you pick 12 jurors, and the jurors must be your peers, meaning people who come from your community, background, walk of life and stuff like that, so that they can understand certain things about you, your case, and whatever elements of the crime to choose or elect to convict or not to convict you. In other words, acquit you of the crime that you're being charged for. But they had a highway patrolman was one of my jurors, a victim of violence, stuff like that. They had like a kangaroo court, and they set me up so bad that I didn't stand a chance, even with my innocence. I asked them to give me lie detector tests and everything. They ignored that, and they told me something about the lie detector test only being 90-something%, 98.999 accurate, would leave room for error. And so they don't want to wrongfully convict me or wrongfully acquit me of a crime based on the results of a lie detector test. So I went to trial, and these jurors, all of them, found me guilty beyond a reasonable shadow of a doubt. How stupid were they? But anyway, after being convicted, I got sentenced to 37.5 years to life, plus a 1 1/3 to 4 year sentence consecutively. So in other words, I had to do 37.5 years to life before I would even have a chance to see a parole board for a chance to go home. So I was 19 at the time. That would have made me somewhere like 59 or something like that. I don't feel like calculating it, but you can do the math. So I've been all over New York State prison system behind these murder charges from max to max, because they usually ship you all over the system so you don't get comfortable in one jail or another and become influential or learn escape routes and stuff like that kind of stuff. So they'll have you here for a couple of years, ship you over to another maximum, ship you to this one. And during my time in prison, a lot of stuff went down, but this video was not about that. I'm just trying to give you a brief overview of me, myself, and stuff like that. But and I'll get into that other stuff another time in another video. But for now, I just get to the basics of what I made the video for. So I went to trial. I lost and was sentenced to 37.5 years to life, even though I had alibi witnesses and everything. And after being sentenced and being sent upstate for the 37 years, I had been married. My wife, she gave up on me because she thought I would never go home for the rest of my life. And coincidentally, one of my lawyers that I had at the time fighting the case, he's dead now. His name is Fred Ackerman. He was my trial lawyer. He acted like he had my back through everything, but behind my back, he told my wife she should go ahead and live her life. She's beautiful and got a whole future ahead of her, and me, I'm never gonna come home again. So just go ahead and do that. On top of that, he also tried to date her himself. But long story short, she took his advice and she went her separate way and left me for dead inside the prison system. And I was, like I said, 19 years old. And so after that, I had other females along the way. I actually was married twice during my sentence. And I lost. After losing in trial, I had my appeals, like the Court of Appeals, the feds, and the District Court, and the Court of Appeals, all that kind of stuff. And I lost my case in every court that I can go to. The United States Supreme Court, they denied me everything. And it's kind of crazy that they did all of this without there being no evidence at all whatsoever against me in this trial. And so, anyway, I spent 20 years in prison, or very close to 20 years in prison, for this crime of murder that I didn't have anything to do with. And then later on, again, people started to come forward about apologizing to me for the lies that they told that cost me my life and all that kind of stuff. I was married the next time. I actually got married again in 2013, by the way. And that wife, she also left me before I actually made it home. And before I came home, she also begged to come back. But by then, I was fed up and I was like, I'm good. I don't want you. I don't need you no more. You already showed me where you stand. So God bless you. Live your life. I'm good. I'm going to live mine. And then 2014, 13, 12, 10, 11, all of these years, I was in communication with people who had lied on me, or either maybe I wasn't in direct communication with people because I was in jail, obviously, but I was getting messages and rumors of people who was saying, damn, they're so sorry that they lied on me and got me all this time in jail, and they didn't believe that I would actually get this much time in jail. And so people were making notarized statements, talking to judges, cops, and district attorneys, saying to them that they lied on me, and they apologized. They was explaining why they lied and stuff like that. And the judges and the district attorneys and the police, they was acting like they was gonna do something about it, but they just was brushing the matter under the rug because, hey, here it is. This guy been in jail for more than 10 years, and now we get to find out for sure that he's innocent. We'll rather not mess with this case. So they planned to just leave me in jail for the rest of my life. And then a long time ago, in like 1996 or whatever the case may be, because the guy who was killed in my case was killed in 1997. But in 1996, there was a girl who lived in the neighborhood of the guy who got killed, and she called the police and told them that her boyfriend was going to kill this man, and that he had the gun to do it. She told them what kind of gun it was, what it looked like, and everything like that. They ignored everything that she told them, and the guy ended up dead after she told him that he was going to get killed by her boyfriend. And after the guy getting killed, the police never even investigated her claims about this guy getting killed. They just heard some other lies from some other people about me and locked me up for the murder. Now, fast forwarding to the future, 2015 or something like that, the same girl who spoke on this guy about to be killed, she ends up stabbed to death. Coincidentally, by the same guy that she told the police was going to kill the guy in my case, her boyfriend. So she ends up dead, and the guy who killed her name is Jeffrey Conrad. Now, Jeffrey Conrad turns out to be a serial killer who's been killing people from probably the 80s, all the way up until the 2000s. And he finally killed her. And he killed other people along the way. First, he killed the guy that they locked me up for. And then along the way, all the years later, because I got locked up in 1997 for the murder. And I wasn't freed until 2016. And during all of these years, this guy was in the world killing people in different states and everything. And then finally, he killed his girlfriend. He stabbed her to death. And then after getting arrested for it and everything, he started to come clean about all of the murders that he ever did. I lived in New York State, and they lived there at one point in time too. But during the time that he got caught for the new murder that he committed, it was 2015 or something like that. And he decided that he wanted to come forward with murders that he's committed throughout his life. And he told the police that he'll give them all of the evidence that they need, all of the information about these murders, but in turn, what he would want from them is that they would give him the death penalty, and then he'll give them all of the evidence about the murders that he committed. So the police asked him to, can he prove that he did these murders or whatever the case may be. He said, yeah, he can prove it. Now, at this time, mind you, he's in Ohio. And in Ohio, that's where he killed the girl. In my case, he killed the guy in New York State. So he's talking to the Ohio Police Department, and he's letting them know, listen, y'all got to work with me, and I'll work with you guys or whatever. So they was like, all right, so if you tell them the truth, give us one of your murder cases and prove to us that you did it. So he was like, all right, I'm gonna do that. And it just so happened to be the luck of the draw. And it shows you that God works in mysterious ways. Like, this is crazy. So anyway, he thought about all the murders that he committed, and he decided that he's going to talk about one of his murders that he committed in New York State. And it was strange to him how they had locked some young kid up for the murder without no evidence and all that kind of stuff. And that young kid that was locked up for the murder was me. And so he told the police, like, yo, y'all set that guy up. How could y'all even lock up that kid without no evidence and blah, 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 whatever the case. And the police was telling him, yo, it wasn't us. That was New York. He's like, all right, whatever the case. Well, I killed the guy that he's in jail for, and this, that, and the third. So it was like, well, can you prove it? And he was like, yeah, I can prove it. So long story short, he told the police exactly where the murder happened. Mind you, again, he's in Ohio. The murder case was in New York. And so he tells them where exactly, down to the address, that he killed the guy. He told them why he killed the guy, how he killed them. He described inside the guy's apartment, and all of the things that he described and mentioned about the murder is only things that the actual murderer would know. Because in my case, when they locked me up for it and everything, they didn't disclose all of the information about the murder, just in case some type of new evidence comes out later. It can be proven or disproved. So one of the things that we found out is that when he killed the guy, like he went to a house and he shot the guy in the head or whatever, and when the guy fell, he didn't actually fall and lay down or whatever. He fell but landed sitting up against the wall. And that was something, if I'm not mistaken, that wasn't televised in the news, because my case was a high profile case. They was actually had me up for the death penalty for this case, you know. So, and that was in like I said, 1997. It was just deading the death penalty in New York State. But at this time, you know, he brought that up. So he the police in Ohio, they contacted the New York Police Department to find out, is there any truth to this story in this murder case that took place in New York? And they looked into their records and found out that, yeah, that case actually did happen. And we got the guy who did the murder. But how did y'all get this information, that information? Because that information was never revealed. Only the police and the actual murderer could know this details about the case. And they said, well, we have somebody that you might want to talk to. And so anyway, after giving up all this information and everything, he learned, that's Jeffrey Conrad, he learned that the police was not going to give him his wish, meaning they wasn't going to give him the death penalty in exchange for his information. And they said that they wasn't in a position to do that. And so he felt like they reneged against him, so now he's going to renege against them. And meaning he's not giving them the rest of his murders, although he did give them a few. He didn't give them the rest, and he decided to no longer cooperate in my case. But anyway, that started a whole chain of events to where they had to reopen my case and go recheck all of the witnesses who lied, check my alibis who told the truth and stuff like that. And they found out that I was actually innocent. And so even knowing that I was innocent, this is how New York State is foul. They knew that they fucked up, excuse my language, they knew they fucked up so bad that now here it is. I've been in jail for 17, 18 years at the time that all of this stuff started coming out. Instead of them letting me out of jail, they sent police to the jail to try to get me to cooperate and say once again that I did this murder and that I was down with the murder and all that kind of stuff, so that my time in prison would be justified. And it was telling me that, yo, if I can work out an agreement, like the district attorney and them, they was telling me that I can plead guilty once again to the murder and go home today and be with my mother. And they would give me time served, and I would have like life parole or something like that. So here it is. They know that I'm innocent and that I spent 18 years of my life in jail for a crime that I didn't commit. Like, my life was snatched away from me at 19 years old. And then when they find out that I'm innocent, they ask me to plead guilty anyway, and they'll let me out and do me the favor of letting me be on life parole. So I was like, hell fucking no. I didn't take the deal once again. And so they threatened me and warned me once again that, yo, listen, you can get a new trial. But guess what? The same way you got found guilty last time with no evidence, that can happen again. And this time you'll be in jail for another 20-something years before you can have a chance at an appeal or anything, if you're lucky enough to have that, you know? I said, well, listen, I've been in jail for the last 20 years. Every girlfriend I ever had left me. My first wife left me. All the girlfriends after that left me. My last wife, she left me. My grandmother died. I lost all of my friends. I became a stranger to my own child in the street. And so now basically all my friends is here in prison with me. So like, it's, you know, I'm used to it now. I grew up here. And you know, at this time I'm 37 years old, having this conversation about me not pleading guilty to a murder that they know I didn't commit. So another year or whatever goes by, I'm still sitting in jail, and now the media is getting involved. Like, yo, why is this guy still in jail when they know that he's not the killer? And so not through justice or fairness they decide to bring me down to court, but through the pressure of the public and the media, they reopened my case, and I was exonerated for this murder that I didn't do. And so I came back home to a world that was completely different from the one that I left. For example, I came home, I didn't know anything about cellular phones, because when I left they had big phones with antennas on the top of it, and I don't really remember exactly how they work, but I think that I know you couldn't text on them, and I don't know if you could call them back or whatever, but anyway, it went from that to now these little tiny phones with cameras and you know, cellular, walking around, battery chargers, GPS, all that kind of stuff didn't exist. The last thing I used as far as the GPS when I was home in 1997 was a map, you know, when I drove to Alabama. But other than that, like, I had problems with, like, when I went to the train station, they used to sell tokens. I don't know if they still sell those or not, but I know that the last time I've been to a train station, you had to get like a Metro card, and you had to use a machine and press digital buttons and stuff like that. And I didn't understand it. You know, I came out, I was shell shocked, traumatized, and like, the world was brand new. It looked beautiful, but it looked so advanced and high tech that I had to catch up with, like, everything. I'm still catching up, actually. So I was exonerated in 2016, and July 7th, that's when I came home. And so as time went by, I tried to get jobs and stuff like that, and I struggled because of the jail sentence. You know, like, I don't have much experience because I didn't have the time to gain this experience, because, like I said, my life was snatched from me. And then the last things that I remember from the street was the things that I loved and enjoyed. And I loved nice cars and nice motorcycles and riding and stuff like that. So I started to get back to these things. And I have a different story about the gaps in the story that you're probably wondering about or thinking about or would like to know or would like to ask. And you can also feel free to ask in the comments too if you want. But yeah, so that's why when you look at my YouTube channel, you'll notice that a lot of my content, as far as technology wise, might seem a little bit outdated. That's because I'm playing catch up, and I don't have training in editing, computer software, and how to use all these cameras and all that kind of stuff like that. So I'm just learning all these things on my own. Not to mention the new motorcycles with ABS and traction control and all that kind of stuff. They didn't have that either when I was young and when I was riding. But so I came home, I got jobs, I got into some things. You know, I'll get into that another time. But I tried to do something positive and something that I like. And I like to ride motorcycles, and I like to stunt. Even though I'm not doing very good in my stunting yet, but I'm going to have it probably within a year's time. You know, I'm hoping anyway. But so what I did was, this was the first camera that I bought. It was a GoPro Hero White 7, I think it's called. And when you look at my channel, my first videos where you see me doing speed runs and all that kind of stuff on my new Ninja, this camera is the one that I used. And I was having trouble moto vlogging, like I said, as far as getting the helmet connected to this camera to where that when I speak through the helmet, you guys can hear me as well as see what I'm talking about and doing. And then once I didn't know how to do it with this camera, I ended up spending another 500 and change, close to 600 on this camera. Well, I spent actually more than 600 because I bought mods, accessories, poles, handlebar, mounts, and all kind of stuff. I bought lavalier microphone, the Purple Panda microphone, headsets. I iPhones, and I still couldn't get anything to work. And this is the GoPro Max 360. I don't believe that I can't even hook this up to my helmet no kind of way. So that 500, 600 and change, I wouldn't say it actually went down the drain, but I wouldn't have probably bought it had I known I couldn't ever get it on my camera. I mean my headset. And so after this one, about a month later, I spent like another $500-600 on the GoPro Hero 9 Black with the media mod to go with it and all kind of other stuff. And that's the camera that I'm using right now to make this video. So that's why you probably can't see it, but everybody know what a GoPro 9 looks like. And so even with this camera, I'm still not able to get audio through the helmet, through any of these microphones into that camera, so that I can have a live feed of audio to go with the video, and that I can make my content better. And this is why you're seeing what you're seeing on my videos. And I'm still looking for somebody to help me and show me how to connect it to my helmet. I to better my editing, I paid for like software and musical apps and all that kind of stuff. I spent another like $1,300, $1,400. I don't remember what I spent on this HP Pavilion computer, and I bought that so that I can, you know, learn how to do stuff with as far as editing is concerned and all that. I bought the this iPhone X. It was the hot one at the time, and then the year went by, they came up with another one. So, you know, that's how that turned out. And hold on. So anyway, before all of that, I bought this helmet setup right here. The reason I bought this helmet setup is because it had a lot of features to it. It didn't come with this paint job. I actually did that myself. Smooth looking helmet. And some of the features that it have is this thing right here. Is to control your headphones. Therefore, in other words, if somebody calls you, you'll talk to them right through the helmet. You can answer the phone, you can listen to music, GPS, whatever the case may be. This right here was another feature that I like that it has. You can, if it's a sunny day, you just switch that down and your sun visor will come in on it like that. So this helmet setup cost me probably close to $300. And then my girl, Manata, I wanted her to ride with me sometime, so I went and bought her this helmet. And this helmet is a good helmet too. It doesn't have all the features. I had a setup for the microphone and all that kind of stuff, but those of you who followed know that I was in a crash and I had this helmet on when I crashed. So after crashing with this helmet, I liked that one so much that I bought it again. And this one, I hooked it up with the Cardo Connect speaker system right here. This is my GoPro mount set up for it. As you can see, you can put your little camera on there like that. So that's how I set up my helmet when I'm riding and stuff like that. But anyway, so in closing, because I don't want to hold you guys up for much longer, I had you guys' ears long enough. But quick brief summary, which is why I did this video, is to let you know a little bit about myself, who I am, and how I came about to where I am today. And like I said, I love motorcycles, I love nice cars, and I love to have fun. I also love to learn. I love to teach. And with this platform right here, I can do all of these things. I can do what I love. You know, I'm not necessarily getting paid for it. Hopefully one day I can make some money out of it, but if I don't, it's all good, because it's something that I really enjoy doing. But I'd like to say also that I have more videos coming. I appreciate those of you who watch my videos. I appreciate those who like my videos, and I appreciate even more those who subscribe to my channel and stick with me, because I'm learning. And as I said, I'm gonna learn these things, and as I learn them, I'm gonna teach you guys who are interested in learning the things that I'm learning along the way. and we'll get the thing at the same time. And if you have any questions or comments, I will be very fast and quick to respond and answer to my audience, because, you know, as I said in my last video, I don't like to talk to people and they don't talk back to me, and I don't want to be that guy to do that to my own audience. So I was 19 when I went upstate for the murder that I didn't commit. And it's a known fact that people who does things to other people, like something like a murder in particular, is usually because they tried to rob them, or they was an enemy to them, or they did something to them that caused something to happen, or they're a terrorist or just a serial killer in general. And these are things that would cause something like that to happen. And in my case, I'm not mental. I'm not a bug out, as you can see. And they didn't know the guy. No motive, no reason to hurt him. He never did nothing to me. I never did nothing to him. I didn't know him. So, you know, the government, they dropped the ball on that one. But I wouldn't even say they dropped the ball, because I feel like they did it intentionally, you know, because it was obvious that I was the wrong guy way from the beginning. And then even when they found out that I wasn't the guy who did the murder, they still offer me to plead guilty, and then they'll let me out of jail. Why would you ask me to plead guilty and then you'll let me out? You know, it wasn't until the pressure came down that they decided to do the right thing and let me go. And, you know, that's just the nature of the beast. But anyway, I came home. I was 38 years old. That was 2016. So from 2016 to today is when I've been trying to get my learning and my skills up to date. But I haven't actually bought my bike until 2020, because I bought a 2020 Kawasaki Ninja 650, and I bought it like when it came out this past summer. And this next summer coming up, I intend to buy the ZX10 Ninja. That's just for my ride, and I'm not even gonna try to probably do any stunts on that, because I'm not even ready with the bike that I got. But yeah, so I'm 43 years old now. I spent a lot of time in jail. And if you have any questions or comments or anything, I'll be the first to respond and interact with you guys and let you know what's going on. And as I said, I don't want to hold you up for much longer, but I thank you and I appreciate you guys being here for me. And I'm going to be there for you in the way that I can. So with that being said, God bless you. Peace. Have a good one. Lah Lotus.